All right. Are you ready to skip to some value dogs?
Let's do it. Value dogs. Let's talk something positive.
All right. Let me grab my notes. Hold on. This is the one thing that I actually have a notebook for, so I gotta bust it out every once in a while. All right, John. It is week 10 of the NFL. The Seahawks aren't playing. We can't take them as an underdog, and it's been so tempting every week. I know. I'm going to take the first pick. Do you have anything to say before we get started?
No. Oh, well, actually, give us some flowers. How did we do last week?
Yes, great point. Last week, value dog or underdogs go 5-10 against the spread, and we did exactly that ratio. We went 2-4, so both sides went 33% for us. You go 1-2, and I go 1-2. After what we thought were such great picks. Your Bucks obviously covering in that overtime game, but the Broncos struggled, and the Bears struggled mightily.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I do remember, watching a couple of those games be like, oh, these were some bad picks. But I was so confident in my picks when I made them that sitting here in front of you, I was like, bring those up. I'm sure I went 3-0. I watched two of those bets lose in front of my eyes, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it was a weird week. It was a weird week. Like, underdogs have really struggled this entire season. On the season, they're now sitting at 44.8% in terms of against the spread. So just really underperforming what we are used to expecting from these underdogs. So
that's bad news for Vegas, man. People love betting the favorites. That's bad news for Vegas that dogs have been doing that bad. The adjustment will come. Maybe not this season. Maybe it'll be next season, but that adjustment's coming.
Vegas will put the word in for the back half of the season, and that's where we're going to make our money.
That's right.
All right, with my first pick for our Sound Up Seattle Week 10 value dogs, I am going to take the Broncos +8 against the Chiefs. We talked about it last week. This Broncos team is good enough. They have a good defense, and what I really think this is the Chiefs can't put a team away by more than a touchdown. Like, it's just kind of been impossible for them for the last season.
Yeah.
And 8 points is a lot for what is an AFC West matchup. Like, this is an in-division matchup. And so I'm excited for this game. I think, it's kind of a kitchen sink game for the Broncos. They had just had a really tough loss against the Ravens. They got a rebound. We'll see what they're able to do. But I think 8 is a lot of points. And Mahomes, a little bit of an ankle injury, as we saw in that game against the Buccaneers. So we'll see if he's 100% when that game comes around.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I want to avoid this just because the Broncos burned me so bad on this exact same bet last week. But I think the main point is that I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I would be shocked if the Chiefs have beaten any opponent by 10 or more points. Like, maybe one game this year they've won by 10 or more. Every game has been tight. 8 points is a ton of points. And I would not be like shocked out of my mind if the Broncos won this game. So 8 points is a lot. Bo Nix looked awful last week, which is very validating to me personally, but was not helpful to my pocketbook. So let's see if he can get it back against a tough Chiefs defense, but we will see. Good pick, but there are a lot of good picks out there this week. I'm feeling confident. So
really, I actually struggled a lot this week finding good picks.
Well, hey, more for me. With my first pick of this week, I am taking the Cincinnati Bengals +6 against the Baltimore Ravens. This was an overtime game earlier this season that the Bengals feel like they should have won. And it's on paper a game where you'd be like, oh no, Ravens, man. Ravens are so good. They might be the best team in football. Nobody can stop the Derrick Henry-Lamar combo. And their defense is really feisty around the line of scrimmage. But this Bengals team was built in a lab to attack this Ravens defense. This Ravens defense that has really struggled against the pass. Guess what? The Bengals are going to rush the ball 7 times this game. It's just going to be Joe Burrow sitting back in shotgun, taking easy pickoffs to Mike Gesicki and Jamar Chase. So I anticipate this being a high-scoring, very fun game to watch. Maybe Ravens pull it out late, but I could see the Bengals winning. I could see them losing close. 6 points is a lot. Give me the points, baby. Joe Cool. I'm also a day one Joe Cool guy, so I can't go against my boy.
I support it. The Ravens just scare me so much. Like, this game was tight.
Yeah.
And
they are
I'm worried
scared
that the Ravens really want to put them away.
Ravens might be the hardest team to bet against this season. You just feel like, what am I doing going up against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson? But
every game they're scoring 30 points at minimum. And so we'll see. But I respect the pick. I did not have that one as one of my 3. I had a point that I was going to make, and I forgot what it was. So I'm just going to go right to my second pick.
No points to make. It's a perfect pick. Move on.
Oh, I know what it was. I'll make it after this one. My second pick in our Week 10 value dogs, I am going to take the Steelers plus 2.5 at the Commanders. I just like this Steelers team. I think Jane Daniels he's a good quarterback. They've played really well, but they haven't really proven it against great teams. And I really think the Steelers this season are one of the great teams. Like, as weird as that is to say with Russell Wilson at quarterback, like the Steelers have looked dominant defensively. And I think this is the game where they can kind of put Jaden Daniels in his place, maybe aggravate that rib cartilage injury a little bit, and we will see what happens. But I think it's going to be a lot of Jaden Daniels running around and the Steelers trying to contain him. So we will see what happens there.
It's an interesting call, man. I'm still a little bit out on the Steelers. There's no doubt about their defense being dominant, and that could cause Jaden trouble, but no defenses really seem to bother their offense that much. And I'm still Russ has looked good in his 2 weeks, credit where it's due, but I'm not a believer at this point. So I'm excited for you to have that bet, but I think I'm going to wait and see on Steelers Commanders.
That's fair.
Sorry, do you want to make a point? Do you want to tear apart my Bengals argument before I move on?
No, the point to be made is about who I'm picking, and just so people know, away underdogs have performed exponentially better than home underdogs. And additionally, I was looking at teams against the spread, just trying to get as much information as I can to try and catch up to you in this battle of value dogs sucking.
Did we officially put $20 on the year for whoever finishes better?
I'm down to put $20.
We both suck. Like, this is anybody's game. Yeah, 100%. $20 on the line. Let's go.
Deal. But the Broncos and Steelers are both 6-3 and 6-2 against the spread on the season, respectively. So, just wanted to point that one out.
Well said. I love stats. With my second pick of the week, I am taking the Arizona Cardinals +1 against the New York Jets. Basically a pick'em game between two teams people just have a hard time getting a feel for. Jets looked pretty good last week in their win. Cardinals also looked pretty solid in their dub. Jets have a better defense on paper, but their defense is underperformed. Cardinals have a worse defense on paper, but their defense has actually looked pretty solid in some of these games. So I think it's going to come down to offense, and I get that we had the Garrett Wilson game, and he was amazing, but I don't really believe in Aaron Rodgers and a really old Devontae Adams and this collection of guys. You know, say what you will about Kyler, he's been really solid this year, and James Conner has been a top 5 fantasy running back again. Seems to be perpetually the case. This Cardinals team just wins games when people don't think they're going to win. And I don't really like this Jets team, so it's a fun pick for me. Also, as a Marvin Harrison Jr. investor, a big opportunity here.
Huge. You know what's crazy, man? I had looked at this earlier today, and it was Jets +1, and I just refreshed the page, and now it says Cardinals +1. But I had taken the Jets +1 in my value dog. Make the argument. I'll make the argument first. I think what it is the Jets have the potential to make just kind of the comeback storm of the season. Like they just had a really big week from Garrett Wilson, and I think this is their kind of turning point. Like I think they need to catch fire here, otherwise nothing's going to happen. And the Cardinals are so off and on every week, and they were super on last week, and so I just think they're going to be off this week. And
you know what? You should be able to take that pick. This is basically a pick'em game. Vegas really can't decide who it wants to be favored. I'll let you take the Jets if you want.
Okay, we can. How about we both? We just you and me, Cardinals versus Jets, and we'll both just take which you take Cardinals, I'll take Jets.
Absolutely. When a line's moving like this, next week you could be, by the time the game's played, maybe you'll be right and Jets will be +1 again. So let's do it. This way, neither of us is going undefeated this week, which is not going to be a shock to anybody that's followed our season. But at least one of us is guaranteed at least a single win. Okay, yeah, that's a fair argument too. Even as I was making it, it's like, gosh, the Jets did look good last week, and Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and all these pieces. But I just feel like the Cardinals are a team that's greater than the sum of their parts, and the Jets are a team that are worse than the sum of their parts. So we'll see which sum adds up on top.
I like it. I was thinking about it, and the Cardinals just as a team, like James Conner is a great running back. Like their pieces are actually pretty nice. And I just think like their pieces have outperformed a little bit this season, and the Jets have obviously underperformed, which is kind of why I was thinking, like, if the Jets are going to turn it around, like, that was the week to start it.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that they can, be greater than the sum of their parts.
Yeah, and that's fair. If they're going to turn around, now's a great week to start.
Yeah.
All right, with my last pick of the week, and one that goes against my heart, but it's positive for my brain, is I'm taking the Dolphins +1 against our recently resurgent LA Rams. Puka Nacua is questionable for the game. Obviously, he's only really played 2 or 3 quarters this season, so no guarantee that he'll be on the field. And if he's off the field, which I'm betting on here, this Dolphins team's just more complete offensively. Stafford can only do so much, but Tua's looked better back in the lineup. It's made Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle relevant again, which is nice. It's taken a lot of pressure off Mostert and A-Chain running the ball. And their defense isn't anything to write home about, but if it's just the Stafford and Kyron Williams and Cooper Kupp show again, it's a lot easier to scheme defenses when you have to stare at 3 guys the entire time. So, I don't know where this is being played, but I guess warm weather game either way. No team's going to get system shocked by December weather or November weather. But I kind of like the Dolphins. I also feel like they're due. Rams have ripped off a couple nice wins, and the Dolphins they still haven't won since Tua's return.
Did they not win last week?
No, they lost last week. They lost right at the end of the game. So,
that's right.
Somebody, at some point the Dolphins are going in, I think, at least 2 or 3 more games this season.
Yeah.
Give me one of them here against the Rams.
Yeah, totally fair. The one thing that I was thinking during looking at that game was that Kyron Williams just had kind of a no-show game against the Seahawks. Like, he didn't really do anything.
3.2 yards per carry.
Yeah, he was really not a huge factor. And I think that was the concern, was like, okay, the Seahawks might have schemed to stop him, and I don't think Miami is doing the same thing. I think they're looking at this like, okay, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, if Puka's playing, like, that is who we have to stop, and it might be the Kyron Williams game again. So we'll see what happens, but I appreciate the pick. All right, that's going to do it. Our Week 10 value dogs. God, that's going to be an interesting one. Just you versus me in the Cardinals Jets game. I like it. That's the first time we've done that.
We'll be talking shit, I'm sure. Of course it's the first time we've done it. It's the first time it's been arguable which team's favored.
You know what I wanted to talk about? We played each other in fantasy last week. This is just, 2 guys talking on the pod.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Dude, that was...
Talk about it.
We had... you had your kicker, right? You had the Tampa Bay kicker, and I had the Chiefs defense going into that game, and I think we were tied. You were projected to have like 1 more point than me, and I just wanted Baker Mayfield to throw an interception so bad at any point in rainy weather. Like, all of that looked like it was prime time for Baker Mayfield to throw an interception, and he just never did. Props to him. Like, all of his receivers were out. He wasn't forcing anything. Like, it was just a good game by Baker.
Dude, Baker was awesome in that game, and I'll tell you what, I had the Kansas City defense in another one of my leagues, and there was this perfect moment of like, I'm just enough ahead of Tyler now that all I need is Kansas City to get this last stop and not send this game to overtime, and I will win both games. And Baker puts his Oklahoma Cowboy hat on and drives him right down the field for a touchdown. It's like, of course. And then they don't do anything in overtime. Classic.
Yep. Oh, classic Chiefs game too. They don't even get the ball. Chiefs just march it down, win it. It's over.
like there was any chance Tampa Bay was going to win that coin toss. Friggin' ridiculous, man.